And just a reminder, everyone, this is an opportunity to talk to Coach Mendenhall regarding the team's invitation to face SMU in the inaugural Wasabi Fenway Bowl at Fenway Park. Coach has already fielded questions regarding his decision to step down following the bowl game. So we'd like
world record length press conference for fielding those questions. That was like 3 overtimes. So that was plenty of time.
And we have it archived on very nice, high quality video as well. So, Coach, would you like to just start us off with a comment about the team going to Boston to play in the Fenway Bowl?
Sure. So as you know, right, there's different kind of preferences as the ACC or any conference you're in, right? There's different tiers and kind of a selection order within that. And so Carla reached out, and within our options, she was asking what would be first preference, second, third, et cetera, of our options. And I really like the idea of going to Boston and playing a football game in that stadium. Our team hasn't been there in my time here. It's a historic stadium, a really good matchup. And it just seemed like a really good opportunity to continue to grow and advance UVA's football program. And so it made a lot of sense to me, and I was hopeful that this would be the game we were selected for. So really excited for our players, our fans, and everyone associated with UVA.
As a reminder, please use the hand raise option if you have a question tonight. We'll start off with Jeff White, and then we'll go to Mike Barber.
Bronco, you mentioned the other day that when you informed your team of your decision, that there was, surprise and shock. As you begin prep for this football game, will it be challenging to keep all that stuff from being a distraction?
I think it'll start that way, Jeff. I don't think it will continue once we focus on the opponent. And because the game is a significant time away still, and players still have finals, there'll be a lot of just lifting and running and conditioning and renewal for the players right after the season to kind of get back to a place that they're ready to play. And so by the time all that's over, which is finals, right, and all their academic work, and then we launch into where they're seeing film of the opponent and knowing this game is happening and these are the matchups, I think through that whole process, and it will take the whole process to then end up being at a place where we can move forward, which I think it'd be unrealistic for me to expect otherwise. So, however, I do believe once the prep starts for the game and the schemes are installed and the practices specifically for the opponent begin, I think that'll really help.
Coach, since your announcement, we've seen, and this happens every postseason, but some kids pop into the transfer portal. First off, guys in the transfer portal, will we assume they will not play in the bowl game?
Not in this particular case. There's too many variables. And so I visited with Carla. Normally my policy, or has been, right, under normal circumstances, which this isn't, is once a player chooses to go into the portal, then they no longer practice with our team. They're no longer part of our team. They finish school, they work on their academics, and then their focus is moving forward. In this particular case, because our team doesn't know who's arriving at UVA to coach them, and I want them to have every chance to continue to grow and practice, right, and become and improve their skills. So to me, it makes complete sense for players, if they choose to enter the portal, they remain with the team. And so in one sense, the portal will be coming to us, where coaches will be arriving here for these players and kids to see. But in the meantime, others will be able to look at them. And then when it comes down to choosing, they will have all the information. And that's the very best I can do to help every player in our program and UVA, right? And so I'll be helping them grow and develop through practice and conditioning and getting ready to play a football game, that continues their advancement. They're anxious to meet their new staff and new coaches as soon as possible, right? So they can choose, because it's very difficult to walk away from the University of Virginia and the education and the experience here. So many are hopeful to stay, but they also have to be ready in case, for whatever reason, that might not fit at this particular time. And so unlike any other time in my career or situation, there's a policy change regarding this particular group. And it's the best I can to try to make it all come together for everybody.
It sounds like then that you're confident you'll have enough bodies to practice and play, that's not a major concern
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Our team wants to, they want to play, and they would like to win. They'd like to finish this season with a bowl victory. And there's independent decisions that were happening even prior to my announcement, right? Players that possibly could go to the NFL or stay, guys that have a fourth year that I provided the opportunity for a fifth year, and they're trying to decide if they want that or not. And there's others that have a fifth year for a sixth year, and others that were 4 years that weren't getting their fifth year, but now they can keep practicing. So that was all happening prior. This just kind of added one other element to it. And I think you get the point, but no, I'm not worried about numbers.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Greg Mattia and Preston Willett.
Yeah, Bronco, I'm curious. Have you ever been to Fenway Park for a baseball game? And I guess if so, what was your experience like if you did, and if you haven't, what are you excited about in terms of going up to Boston and seeing the venue?
Yeah, I haven't been to Boston before. I grew up a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, and Willie Stargell and those guys, but I know the Big Green Monster, right? I know about that, and I know about the legacy, but I've never seen the stadium from the inside. I have played at least 2 other bowl games, if I remember right, in a baseball stadium. And it's a little weird. It's kind of sideways, and yeah, it takes a minute to kind of get your bearings, but I think it's an amazing experience to play a football game, and a memorable one for UVA and for our players. And just, part of the job besides winning and playing well is continuing the educational part, right? And Boston is a really cool place to go. So it made a lot of sense to me.
Bronco, I asked you the other day just about responsibilities or preparing for this bowl game now. Kind of how does this change with kind of your position now and your assistants' positions, and kind of not knowing what the future is as y'all get ready for this, and also recruiting?
Yeah. I'll kind of address them in order. Really, nothing changes in terms of our preparation once the preparation begins. And so the game is still a significant ways out, right? And our players are finishing their schoolwork. And so rather than this rapid turnaround and here we play next week, right, we're playing the 29th. And so normally we would be recruiting right now and wouldn't even be thinking about designing practice models, et cetera. And so our coaches will be working on all of their individual work based on the season finishing, and the self-study and the analysis and all those things that can give us the best chance to be ready to move forward. At the same time, some of our staff members will be recruiting, and others will be in the office preparing. And so it's probably from now until maybe the 18th will be the most kind of vague time of some overlap and different things. Then once that hits, it'll be really business as usual in terms of preparing for a game where all the roles are back really clearly defined and how they would be regardless.
Did you decide the roles, like who's out recruiting and who's back preparing?
So I have input as well, but again, this is now more coordinated with Carla, right? And anything. So ultimately, right, I advise and Carla chooses, and then I end up facilitating the best I can. But here's the reality, right? The principle is, or the belief is, I want the University of Virginia to grow and progress and advance from here forward. I don't want it to flatten. I don't want it to go down. I want it to advance, right? So it's a complete team effort between myself and Carla to move the program forward, not backwards, in every decision we're making. And the same is happening with my staff. So there's no misalignment. This is just a unique time prior to my last game at UVA.
Coach, you may not have been on the call when I mentioned this, that Devin Darrington did confirm he's played in Fenway Park at Harvard.
Oh, nice. I'll have to ask him what it's like.
Yeah. So our next 3 questions will be Gene Wong, Danielle Stein, and Jerry Ratcliffe.
Yeah, Bronco, what is the value of being able to have these extra practices in terms of getting a head start for next season? I mean, can you quantify that?
Yeah, in this particular case, not as much as normal because of the final schedule, and also because the schemes and some of the things that we'll be doing might not be as specific and relevant to what the new staff will choose to do. Right. And so we're limiting the number of young player developmental practices And most of our work will be in preparation specifically for this opponent. So the academic component added one influencer to that. In terms of the timing, the unique situation of a coaching transition added another. And so really it'll be extended practices in relation to this opponent rather than developmental just against each other and trying to enhance that to go forward. And then speaking of the opponent, how much do you know about SMU? Obviously they're going through a little coaching change as well. Yeah, nothing yet. I haven't seen any film. When during the season, you kind of see some highlights here and there, and I knew their former coach, right? I know the systems he ran. I know this kind of season they were having. Other than that, no chance to really acknowledge anyone else, right? That's outside of your league. And so really that preparation, it won't start this week. It will begin the following week in terms of familiarizing myself with what we'll be seeing. Good, thank you. Yep.
Bronco, you mentioned how historic this game is, being the first of this, but just on a personal level, knowing that this is the last for you with this program, what would it mean to you to just end your coaching career with Virginia at this point with a win for this group?
I think the last sentence is the most relevant for this group. That is the motive for this group. I tried to have the other announcement soon enough to where hopefully it would go this and then go that, and then it could go to our team. I want it for our team. I love my players, and I would love to have and see them have success one last time together. I really would like to see that happen.
Bronco, even though you don't know exactly what's going on with SMU with their coaching change, how do you like the matchup just on the basis of what you do know?
Yeah, I like it. I believe, right, that SMU in the last couple of years, their trajectory, a lot like ours, had been pretty compelling and interesting and exciting, and there's stuff happening. And because of that, right, sometimes coaches have an opportunity to move on, which is what their coach chose to do. That doesn't happen without really good talent. It doesn't happen without good schemes. It doesn't happen without good organization and good management and good design. And the league is good that they play in. And so, yeah, I think it's a quality matchup, a compelling matchup. And yeah, knowing Coach Dyke's history for offense, right, and the way that our offense is performing, right, there's a lot to, I think, that'll be pretty exciting to see.
And to follow up, have you had any players express any desire to opt out of the bowl game?
Not yet. I haven't. Most of the interviews that I've been having, Jerry, so the last time we've talked, I don't remember what day that was, but I've just been here at the HB3, and any players that have wanted to talk are out here either on my porch or on horseback that we're talking at the same time. That's kind of, if they want to talk, they got to saddle up or come out here until Monday. And it's been really fun. I would say 3 of the best days or 2 of the best days I've had as the coach here, just visiting with players, talking about their futures and expressing gratitude, but also just talking sincerely. So in answer to your question, no one's opted out. Could that happen? Possibly. I think it does, or all around college football, but that hasn't come up yet.
Thank you.
We'll take our last 2 questions from David Teal and Mike Barber.
By the way, going back, Olu Atimi, somehow I missed him at the very beginning of riding horses. And yeah, by the time he was done, he was showing some swagger in the saddle. It was impressive.
Bronco, you went through an experience similar to this in 2015 when you coached Brigham Young in its bowl,
Yeah.
knowing it was your final game.
Yeah.
What was that like, and will you draw upon that as you approach this particular game?
Yeah, I will. And it's interesting you said that because what a challenge that was. So the emotions from the coaches, the players, and myself it was difficult to manage. We were just, the emotions were closer to the surface. And that's what I'm trying to relate to, right? It was just the threshold to laugh, cry, be angry. It just seemed like it was much more raw. and it was harder to execute because of the emotions and kind of the inner turmoil. And I think that was for everybody. So yeah, the focus on execution and consistency and any sense of normalcy I can add will be my responsibility, and at a higher level in managing the external environment and the internal environment than what I did then. As I was wrestling, I'd been there for 13 years, right? So that was man. So yes, it's relevant for sure. And poise, execution, focus on assignments and just things that have to be done. In addition to acknowledging some of maybe the emotions that are there and trying to lower that threshold and raise the execution at the same time.
And then Brennan spent some time in the tent late in the Virginia Tech game. How is his health, and do you expect him to be at full strength for the bowl?
Wow, that game seems like about a year ago already. So I haven't looked at the injury report. I did see him in the team meeting. We were there, and he seemed as fiery and as ready as ever. And so I wish I had more to tell you. I don't anticipate any limitations or anything that's off. And again, we play the 29th. So, man, lots of time to recover and renew. So I wouldn't anticipate anything if there is something still left, that it's not completely ready and healed by then.
Bronco, along those lines, is Brennan one of the people you've talked to about his future?
No. So I've talked to him about, so I think future is different. So we were planning to talk before about coming back or going to the NFL. And so paperwork submitted, right, for all those players this year. It takes about 2 weeks for it to come back. And if they're a first or second round pick, the letter will say that. Anything other than first or second round, it will say return to school. And so he's one of the players that we've submitted that paperwork for. And so we really haven't talked beyond that or since the team meeting about now what all this means. So surely those conversations will happen with not only him, but others. Most of that will be, Mike, in relation to what his report comes back from the NFL saying. So that's probably the next significant one. And yeah, that's where that one is.
How many guys have been out either on horseback or on the porch? How many have visited?
I think we're at 8 to this point.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And when it's even close, and by the way, Keaton has a pretty nice swing. It went from not looking so good, but he actually, yeah, he's got a chance.
Thank you.
Yep.
Coach, thank you for your time on a Sunday. Thanks, everyone. And like I said, I'll post this in the box folder in just a few minutes.
See you guys. Bye.